Why your weight loss has stalled and why you shouldn't panic. You've been doing everything right, tracking your calories, hitting your workouts, walking more than you have in years, and yet, for the last couple of weeks, nothing. The scale hasn't moved, not a pound, not even a fraction. This is the exact moment where most people quit. They assume something has broken their metabolism, their hormones, or their age. But I'm going to show you why this stall is actually proof that your plan is working. And more importantly, I'll show you exactly what's happening behind the scenes and what to do so you don't sabotage your progress right before the breakthrough. The midpoint trap that nobody warns you about. Let's talk about the part of weight loss that nobody puts in the before and after photos. The middle, the beginning, that part's exciting. You clean up your eating, you start moving more, and the weight starts coming off fast. 5 pounds, 10 pounds, sometimes more. You feel like you've cracked the code. Your clothes fit better. Your face looks leaner. You've got momentum. And then out of nowhere, it slows down. Then it stops. You're still doing everything the same. Same meals, same workouts, same effort, but the results? Gone. This is what I call the midpoint trap, and it's dangerous not physically, but mentally, because this is where your brain starts telling you stories. Maybe this plan isn't working anymore. Maybe I need to switch things up. Maybe I've hit my limit. And if you listen to those thoughts, you start jumping from plan to plan. New diet, new strategy, new hack. But here's the reality. Most people don't fail because their plan stopped working. They fail because they abandoned a plan that was working just at a slower, less obvious phase. I had a client. His name is Dave. He is mid-40s, busy job, and 2 kids. He dropped 18 pounds in his first 8 weeks. Everything was clicking. Then he hit a plateau at 212, and it stayed there. Week 1, no change. Week 2, no change. By week 3, he was convinced something had gone wrong. He told me, I think my body just doesn't want to go lower. And I told him, your body doesn't have opinions. It follows rules. He didn't love that answer either, but it turned out to be exactly what he needed to hear. Your body isn't broken. It's smarter than you think. Here's what's actually happening. When you lose weight, your body adapts. And not in a vague, mystical way, in a very predictable, mechanical way. When you were heavier, everything you did required more energy. Walking burned more calories. Climbing stairs burned more calories. Even standing burned more calories. Now that you've lost weight, you're more efficient. Your body has essentially upgraded into a lower fuel consumption machine, which sounds great until you realize what it means. The calorie deficit that worked when you started might not be a deficit anymore. It might be maintenance. Simple example. Let's say you started at 240 pounds. You created a calorie deficit and started losing weight. Now you're 215. Your body doesn't need the same amount of fuel anymore. So the same calories that created fat loss before, now just maintain your current weight. This is where people get it wrong. They think, I stopped losing weight, so something's broken. But the truth is, you stopped losing weight because your body adapted faster than you adjusted. That's not failure. That's progress. The scale is not telling you the whole story. Now let's address the biggest source of frustration, the scale. Because if you're using that number as your only measure of progress, you're setting yourself up to lose the mental game. Your body weight fluctuates constantly, not just day to day, but hour to hour. And most of those fluctuations have nothing to do with fat. What actually affects the scale? Water retention, sodium intake, stress levels. Sleep quality, carbohydrate intake, digestion. You can lose fat for an entire week and the scale might not show it. A real-world scenario. Let's say you eat a salty meal, have a stressful day, sleep poorly, your body releases cortisol. Cortisol signals your body to hold on to water, so now you're carrying extra fluid, which shows up on the scale, and suddenly it looks like you made zero progress. What's actually happening, fat loss is happening, but it's being masked by temporary water retention. This is what I call the lag effect. Your results are real, but they show up late. What you should do instead. Stop focusing on daily weigh-ins. Look at weekly averages. Even better, compare 1 week to the next. That trend line tells you the truth. The daily number, that's just noise. Why your belly fat isn't budging yet. Now let's talk about the most frustrating part, the stomach, because this is where most people, men in particular, lose their patience. You'll notice changes in your face, your arms, even your shoulders, but your gut barely moves, and it makes you feel like nothing's working. Here's what's actually happening. Your body doesn't lose fat evenly. It prioritizes certain areas. And for most men, belly fat is the last to go. Think of your body fat like a storage tank. The fat you want gone the most, that's sitting at the bottom. And your body doesn't tap into it until it absolutely has to. Why this matters. This is where people make a huge mistake. They assume their plan isn't working, so they switch to something new. But what they don't realize is they were just about to reach the point where the belly fat starts dropping. Here's a client story. Dave lost 25 pounds. He looked dramatically different everywhere, except his stomach. He got frustrated and wanted to try a new diet. I told him to stay the course. 2 weeks later, that stubborn fat finally started to shift. Not because we changed anything, but because his body finally reached the threshold where it had no choice. The progress that you're not measuring. If the scale isn't reliable, what should you track? This is where smarter data comes in. 1. Waist measurement. This is your most important metric. If your waist is shrinking, you are losing fat. No debate. 2. How your clothes fit. Your waistband doesn't lie. If your pants feel looser, something is changing, even if the scale says otherwise. 3. Strength in the gym. If you're maintaining or increasing strength, you're preserving muscle. That's critical for long-term fat loss. 4. Energy and consistency. Are you feeling better overall? More stable energy? Better focus? That's progress. Hidden phase, recomposition. Sometimes during a plateau, your body is losing fat and gaining muscle at the same time. So the scale doesn't move, but your body is improving. The identity shift that changes everything. Here's where this becomes more than just a physical process. To get leaner, especially past that stubborn middle, you need to change how you think. Most people operate emotionally. They eat based on how they feel. They skip workouts when motivation drops. They rely on short-term results to stay engaged. But lean individuals operate differently. They follow systems. They track data. They stay consistent regardless of mood. The simple truth. If your behavior depends on motivation, you'll quit in the plateau. If your behavior is system-driven, you'll push through it. Back to Dave. After 3 weeks stuck at 212, he finally dropped to 209. It looked like sudden progress, but it wasn't. It was delayed feedback from consistent effort. What to do when you hit a plateau? Now let's get practical, because this is where execution matters. Verify your deficit. Be honest. Are you truly in a calorie deficit? Or are small extras creeping in? Even a few hundred extra calories can stall progress. Check your activity. As you diet, your body naturally reduces movement. You sit more, move less. So track your steps. If they've dropped, that could explain the plateau. Use the 3-week rule. Don't react too quickly. If your weight and waist haven't changed for 21 days, then adjust, but not before. Make small changes. Avoid drastic cuts. Instead, add 2,000 to 3,000 steps per day or reduce 100 to 150 calories. Small adjustments are sustainable and effective. The real skill is patience. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Fat loss isn't hard because it's complicated. It's hard because it's slow. The middle phase is boring. No big wins, no visible changes, just repetition. And most people can't handle that. They need excitement. They need fast feedback. And when they don't get it, they quit. But the body follows rules. If you're in a consistent deficit, you will lose fat, not might, will. Well. Final perspective. Most people don't fail because their plan didn't work. They fail because they stopped following it right before it started paying off. If you're in that frustrating middle phase right now and this helped you see what's really going on, hit like and subscribe.